This is the Chamber Chat Podcast, the show dedicated to chamber professionals to spark ideas and to get actionable tips and strategies to better serve your members and community. Hello, Chamber Champions. Welcome to Chamber Chat Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Burton, and it's my goal here on the podcast to introduce you to people and ideas to better help you serve your chamber members and your community. Our title sponsor is Community Matters, Inc. With nearly 20 years in the chamber industry and over 100 media awards presented to their chamber partners, Community Matters provides the R&R that every chamber needs, revenue and recognition. When it comes to publishing a chamber map, directory, or community guide, Community Matters has a trusted experience to help your chamber accomplish your goals. With different advertising sales models and publication styles, Community Matters will help you create a non-dues revenue machine. Let's hear from Becky Womble, President and CEO of the Bastrop Chamber, to hear about her experience using Community Matters.
I've been using Community Matters for probably 6 or 7 years now. And in a previous life, I sold commercial printing. So I can highly recommend Community Matters because it's a complete turnkey job for any busy chamber exec. Basically, you give them a membership list, and from there, they contact your members, and it's no high pressure sales or anything. And it really is a complete turnkey job from start to finish. And it's a wonderful, beautiful printed product whenever you're finished. And I'm very sold on Community Matters. And with a printing background, big endorsement for me.
To learn how Community Matters can support your chamber with your next publication, please visit communitymattersinc.com/podcast to request your free media kit and request a proposal to find out what kind of non-dues revenue you can generate. Our guest for this episode is me, just me today. So I am going to take this episode to share some tools for your chamber. First of all, as this is being released, this is the week of Thanksgiving. If you're listening to this when it comes out, if you're listening to this later, just realize it came out the week of Thanksgiving. So one of my objectives in releasing this episode at this point is to recognize and give thanks to those who make the show possible. So we're coming up on 5 years of Chamber Chat Podcast. And number one, if you all weren't out there listening, there would be no point for the show. So it really does warm my heart to know that you guys are out there listening and care about the show and that you're sharing it with your chamber colleagues. And it's a lot of fun for me to go to different chamber conferences and to bump into some of you and be able to meet you IRL, right? In real life, as they say. So please, if you see me at a conference or anything like that, I would love to meet up with you. But also, as I share tools for your chamber in this episode, I was kind of having the visual of, if you remember as a kid, at least for me as a kid, we would make our Christmas wish list, if you will, out of the JC Penney catalog. So we would go through the toy section and kind of see, what the latest and greatest toys were and be able to put together our Christmas list, our wish list, if you will. So with this, again, coming out the week of Thanksgiving, and I'm hoping this may be, a little bit of a JC Penney catalog wish list moment where you can learn about some of these tools and add them to your chamber wish list of things that you'd like to see implemented within your organization. So first of all, the format that I want to do this entire episode in is I'm going to touch on some of these different tools and give you kind of just a really brief description of what it is and how it can help. And then wherever possible, I'm going to reference a chamber that I know of that utilizes this tool. And if there's a podcast episode associated with this tool, I'll reference that. and then I'll point you to websites to learn more. So if that makes sense, we'll kind of roll down the list here. So number one, as a tool, I'll say is utilizing at times a third party. So Community Matters Inc., you heard they are the title sponsor for the podcast. Community Matters does chamber maps, directories, magazines, whatever chamber publication you need. That's their specialty. So Community Matters works almost exclusively with chambers of commerce and produce very high quality, award-winning publications. And they also produce a digital format of whatever print product is that they produce. So their digital, for example, with the map, we have the kind of the traditional fold-out city maps, which maybe just as kind of a side note, I think the publications that your chamber has really says a lot about your community, and those publications become, kind of by default, a marketing piece to showcase your community. So it's important to have a good-looking publication to showcase your community. But when you think of a city street map, it gives a really good perspective to how your community is laid out and all the major points of interest and so forth. But they also have an interactive map that really is interactive. So it'll drop all the major points of interest on there with icons that kind of bounce as you click on them, takes you right to individual websites. All the advertisers get plotted on there. Really, that interactive version becomes kind of a virtual tour of your community, which is awesome. So if you wanted to touch base, some of you may know Bruce Hillegeist with the Tomball Chamber in Texas. He would be a great resource to learn a little bit more about the relationship with Community Matters and using them as a tool to serve your chamber. Also, way back in episode 15, I had Lane Mullen on the podcast as a guest, and he's with Community Matters, so he went into more detail about what the company has to offer. And if you wanted to check them out and maybe try to get a quote for your chamber, get a bid to see what it would take. And I will say, getting a quote, in most instances, it actually ends up being a revenue generator for your chamber. So there's non-dues revenue that comes with the revenue share of whatever ads are sold. But you can visit communitymattersinc.com/podcast to learn more and to request a media kit and learn more about Community Matters. The next tool, if you will, that I wanted to highlight is Yiftee.
Are you using chamber checks to keep shopping local in your community? Then you know that schools, hospitals, city government, and companies love buying them in bulk for their employees at the holidays. Now you can save yourself a lot of time and hassle with Yiftee, an online gift card that works exclusively at your members' businesses. It's free for you and free for your members. Email us at sales@yiftee.com. That's sales@yiftee.com.
So Yiftee, as you know, is also a sponsor of the podcast. And I wanted to highlight them earlier in this episode because of the timing. So we're middle of November, middle to late November at this point. But Yiftee does community gift cards. So if you think of like chamber checks, I know some of you out there do those. And these community gift cards, it's all digital. So you can carry the gift card on your phone. Makes them easy to give as gifts and to reload and sell throughout the community. But one of the things I had Donna Nowitzki, the CEO of Yiftee, on in episode 242 of the podcast. She mentioned that one of the kind of surprises as they got into doing community gift cards is that certain entities in your community will buy several cards. So maybe it's a school district will buy them for all the teachers. And the idea is the community gift card a certain dollar amount gets put on there, and it is used at vendor businesses in your community. So member businesses who basically opt in to the program. So you could have a coffee shop and nail salon and restaurants and retail boutiques and things like that. So maybe around the holidays, a school district or a hospital maybe gets them for their employees as a thank you. And rather than just getting them a generic Amazon gift card, they can give them or gift them these uniquely branded community gift cards, which keeps those dollars within your community, which we know the value of that, and those dollars being spent again and again. So a reference for you if you wanted to check with somebody about the street cred of Yiftee, you can reach out and touch base with Christine Langenfeld at the Amherst Chamber in Buffalo, New York. And of course, you can always visit yiftee.com. So that's Yiftee.com. One of the other tools that I wanted to highlight is App My Community. Are you looking for a year-round, affordable, and timely shop local campaign for your chamber or CVB? Look no further. Build a custom Eat, Shop, Play mobile app with App My Community by visiting appmycommunity.com/chamberchat. App My Community mobile apps are not just simple membership directory listings. They provide many more capabilities to engage with your community. Provide your residents with a robust events calendar. Partner with a local fair, festival, or farmers market to provide a schedule, map, and other resources to promote the event. Run a small business Saturday campaign any time of the year using built-in scavenger hunts. Allow your membership to communicate directly to their customers via push notifications. Your App My Community mobile app will be a unique member benefit, allow you to generate non-dues revenue with sponsorship opportunities, and best of all, provide a valuable resource to your community. Please visit appmycommunity.com/chamberchat now to receive 10% off your first year of an App My Community mobile app. And App My Community has also been one of the sponsors from nearly, early on, I guess I could say, as started really taking sponsors on for the show. And Joe Dumig, I had him on the podcast in episode 119. He talks about all the ins and outs of App My Community. But the quick story with their company is they started, their family does a lot of traveling with RVs, and they would go to these different RV parks, and they realized these RV parks work kind of like little communities. So as they visited these different RV parks, Joe started designing these mobile apps to highlight what the area had to offer. So it could be a virtual scavenger hunt or maps or just a restaurant guide or whatever. I mean, they are custom community mobile apps. So they were doing this for all of these RV parks. And they quickly saw that chambers of commerce were a very natural fit for the product that they have. So as chambers adopt their platform, the App My Community platform, they're able to do like a small business Saturday, really any time of the year, because you can do push notifications through the app. Like I said before, scavenger hunts. You can really have a lot of fun with the users of the app in your community. I know the Farmington Regional Chamber in Missouri is one that uses it, and there's a lot of businesses or a lot of chambers that use App My Community. I'm trying to just list one for each of these tools to not bombard you with too many. But if you wanted to get a demonstration of App My Community for your community, you can go to appmycommunity.com/chamberchat and request a time to get a demo. The next tool that I'd highlight is it's kind of a 2-for-1. So Chamber Nation And Chamber Nation just rolled out a new tool called Piply. Are you looking for a way to promote your business community? Look no further than Piply. With Piply, you can get all the tools you need to connect with your members, promote your businesses, and grow your community. Piply offers a wide range of features, including a state-of-the-art community website, a community clicker mobile app for businesses, members, and the community, a marketplace where businesses can present professional services and even sell their products, a powerful event management and community calendar system, a comprehensive commerce community management system, and a complete membership services department, all included. And best of all, Piply is only $1 per member per month after a small initial setup. That's a fraction of the cost of other management platforms. So, what are you waiting for? Sign up for Piply today and start growing your business community. Book a time to learn more at piply.com. That's PIPPILY.com to book a time to meet and learn more. We'll show you how Piply can help you promote your business community and grow your subscriptions. So, some of you may be familiar with Chamber Nation. Chamber Nation is a member management software. Most of you probably have a member management software. And the thing that I really like about Chamber Nation is that they are still on the smaller end of a company. So Richard Scully, who's their owner, he was on episode 161. And one of the things that he has shared with me is that his ability to pivot quickly. So if he gets feedback from a chamber that they would like to see some kind of change within the software, he can do that very quickly. He doesn't have to take it to a board. He doesn't have to get a bunch of approvals through middle managers and everything. He can just get it done very quickly. Don McCoy at the Fulshire Katy Chamber in Texas is a huge fan of Chamber Nation. In fact, they're also, the Fulshire Katy Chamber is adopting the new platform of Piply right now. So Piply is more of a customized management software specifically designed for smaller chambers. So if you're a chamber listening who hasn't ever had membership software, or maybe you're just kind of patching things together because maybe you can't afford a membership software package, Piply would be right up your alley. It's very affordable. And Richard, again, is working with small chambers to make this work for you. So the two websites I would point you to on these tools would be chambernation.com and piply.com. That's PIPPILY.com. Couple other tools. These are... Obviously, you're seeing a kind of a trend. These are a lot of the sponsors that I've had for the podcast. So I'm trying to say thank you to them around Thanksgiving time. They've given a lot for the podcast, and I want to make sure that they're getting the best bang for their investment as well. But the very first company that I had supporting the show was Swypit, and that's SWYPIT.
Would you be interested in creating even more value from the processes that you're already doing on a daily basis? Swypit has been one of my sponsors for Chamber Chat from the beginning. Swypit provides credit card payment solutions that will save your chamber up to 40% on your processing fees, and Swypit can integrate your credit card processing seamlessly into your existing membership software. Swypit does not charge chambers to switch, and they will make switching simple. In addition to these savings, Swypit has an affinity program for chambers of commerce, so you can earn more non-dues revenue to support your budget. Learn more about Swypit by requesting your free cost savings analysis and become more profitable today by visiting chamberchatpodcast.com/cc as in credit card. Again, that's chamberchatpodcast.com/cc, and you can join many other chambers as you begin swiping with Swypit.
And Swypit, they do credit card processing. And I'm sure every chamber listening has some sort of credit card processor. Some are using Stripe or Square, or maybe just the processing software that came with your membership software. Swypit, I'll tell you, is all about the customer service. They're all about making sure you have the very best service with your credit card processing. They do have very good rates. They also can integrate with whatever your chamber management software is. And they do a non-dues revenue program as well. So essentially your chamber can become an affiliate for Swypit. And if you had members that sign up with Swypit, your chamber can earn a little commission back for each new customer and on their transactions. So Kevin Hodis is the owner of Swypit. I had him on back on episode 17, and Kevin was actually a longtime friend of mine, and it was a good fit when I started the podcast to have him as a sponsor. He thrives on helping small businesses succeed and large businesses, but he wants businesses to succeed. The reference that I would share on this one is Megan Barfield at the Great Bend Chamber in Kansas. I know she's one of the ones that have signed up with Swypit and utilizing those benefits. And if you wanted to get a cost-free analysis for your chamber, you can visit chamberchatpodcast.com/cc, as in credit card, and fill out the form there. And then Kevin or one of his staff will reach out to you to get you more details. A couple others, and I'll probably move along these a little quicker. Holman Brothers Membership Sales Solutions. So Holman Brothers, they had been the title sponsor for the podcast for a couple of years. Doug and Bill, great guys. They know membership sales inside and out. They will either come in and do training for your chamber, in-person kind of training, but they've also fairly recently rolled out kind of a continuous sales coaching model. So they call it Next Level Coaching. And that's where they meet virtually with all those within the coaching program twice a month, answer questions, do individual coaching calls, really just providing a ton of value. And although I know Doug and Bill pretty well, I've sat in on some of their talks and breakout sessions at conferences, and they just share the little tidbits that you don't think about when it comes to membership sales. So definitely a great resource for your chamber. In fact, Diane Rogers at the Rancho Cordova Chamber in California had mentioned that not only did Doug come in and teach her salesperson how to sell, but he also taught Diane as the CEO how to manage the salesperson, which there's dynamics there that Doug and Bill know all about. So I did do a podcast episode with Doug Holman that's found in episode 126. But if you're interested in learning more about specifically the Next Level Coaching Program, I would point you to holmanbros.com/nextlevel. One of the next ones that I would just highlight, for whatever reason, I didn't realize that so many chambers do certificates of origin. And I, for a while, did a blog series that was sponsored by a company called SDocs. So ESSDOCS. They've since been acquired. So now they're ICE Digital Trade, but they'll help with your certificates of origin and digitizing everything and making the process real smooth. The last two that I would mention, for those of you who are not familiar, Izzy West, she does an annual Chamber Pros Planner, which is pretty awesome. It's a weekly, monthly planner for Chamber Pros. And really, it has areas for goals and notes and really just planning out what your week and your month looks like, things to keep you accountable. There's kind of a parking lot in the back where you can put There's like a library shelf where you can write in names of books that you're hoping to get to. But this really becomes a great resource to take to conferences, to plan out your days and your weeks as a chamber professional. So I know Diane Sawyer at the Reedsville Chamber in North Carolina is a big fan of it. I did have Izzy as a guest on episode 91 of the podcast, and she was talking specifically about managing a content calendar at a chamber. So this Chamber Pros Planner goes right in line with that. So if you were to check that out, I would point you to theizzywest.com/shop and look for the 2024 Chamber Pros Planner. And the way she has it is you can either buy it on Amazon or you can buy it on Etsy. And so on Etsy, you can either just get the digital download and print it yourself and bind it however you want, or you can buy it on Amazon and have it print on demand and shipped to you. And then the last tool that I would reference for you guys is the Chamber Podcast course that I created coming out of the pandemic. So we saw a lot of chambers pivoting to podcasting. I had a lot of chambers asking me how to do it. So I put together a course that teaches you how to do it and shows you how the software works, shows you what equipment you need, how to use it. This really kind of got spurred on when Angie Whitcomb, at the time she was at the Shakopee Chamber, she had reached out to me about questions about starting a podcast. And once she got her podcast up and going, I had her on the show, which is found in episode 95. But in talking with her, that really gave me the idea and confidence, we'll say, the confidence to come out with a course to really teach chambers how to do this. Kathy Van Eaton at the Simi Valley Chamber in California is one that has utilized the chamber podcasting course. So if you wanted to check that out, you could find it at chamberchatpodcast.com/pivot. And there is a free chamber podcasting guide. And then there's a course, which right now I have it priced at $200. And that's going to teach you the ins and outs, how the software works, all that. And most of the resources in that course are free or very low cost resources to get up going with the podcast real quick.
Have you ever thought about creating a podcast for your chamber? We always hear about how chambers need to be storytellers. What better way is there to tell the stories of your members and the work of your chamber than through a podcast? Your audience is waiting to hear from you as a convener of leaders and influencers, champion for business, and catalyst for change within your community. I just launched a chamber podcast course with the goal to get your very own podcast started within 30 days. Visit chamberchatpodcast.com/pivot to learn more and to enroll in the Chamber Podcast course today.
The last thing that I would just like to put out there is if you know of a company or somebody who would be a good sponsor for the show, send them my way. Think about vendors you see at conferences, maybe someone outside of the fields that I just mentioned with the tools today. Feel free to send them my way. Refer the podcast to them. Shoot me an email. I'm happy to reach out to them. But my email is brandon@chamberchatpodcast.com. And from there, we can see if their company would be a good fit. But again, thank you so much for being here, being a listener of the show. I hope this holiday wish list, this chamber wish list, or a JC Penney catalog, if you will, is helpful. And I know if you've been a listener of the show, you've heard some of these tools being mentioned as sponsors in the show. But I thought just giving a little more context about what they do, a reference of who uses them, tiebacks to episodes that they were in before, and also a direct link to take advantage of their offers might be very helpful. So, in fact, the show notes for this episode are going to be super simplified. I'm going to have all the tools listed with direct links to everything you need to be able to get in quick contact or listen to those episodes or whatever you want to do. So feel free to check out those show notes for this episode. So you can go to chamberchatpodcast.com/episode 252. But again, thanks for being here. Love having you guys as audience and being champions for your community. I appreciate it. Keep up the great work you're doing, and hopefully I'll see you at a conference sometime soon.
If you are a chamber professional, please subscribe to Chamber Chat Podcast in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Spotify. When you subscribe to Chamber Chat Podcast, new episodes will show up in your podcast app each week as they are released. If you're finding value in this podcast, please leave us a rating and a review in iTunes. But most importantly, please share Chamber Chat Podcast with your colleagues that are in the industry.